Hey you! Hello, Nee. Welcome back to my channel. It has been about a year, I think, since I last chatted with you guys about Zoe's eczema. Yes. 我的宝宝有异位性皮肤炎, atopic dermatitis, and it's been really difficult. It's been about a year of us learning about it, trying to manage it, and I've gotten lots of questions in my DMs. Feel free to slide yourself in. We can 做个朋友. So yes, I figured now would be a great time for me to just go over everything that we have done in the past year, what has worked, what has not worked, what I've learned about eczema as a first-time parent and someone who has never ever had eczema in my life, someone whose family has no history of eczema. Also someone who has really came to terms with the fact that eczema is a chronic disease, and that has been really hard for me to accept. If you are also new to eczema, it is chronic. It's something that you live with, you learn to live with, and just manage it throughout your life as it flares up, as it goes away, as it comes back. It's tiring, it's expensive, but if you're a first-time parent, if you're a parent in general dealing with eczema for the first time, this video is for you. Before we get started though, make sure you subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all the socials right here. Yes, you guessed it. I have a ton of products to go over with you because you gotta try and error so many things and you gotta tackle them, moisturize them endlessly. Yes. Also, as a parent of eczema, I'm sure you know that life of getting endless e-gens, endless recommendations and suggestions to try different things. So, solidarity to you if you're going through it. Also, as a parent, I know we're all so desperate to find that one solution to just relieve our babies of the itchiness and the pain, and that is why I have this collection. That is something to be expected if your baby has chronic, severe eczema. First, we're gonna start with the non-medicated stuff, the non-medicated lotions. And with eczema, not every little lotion is gonna do because eczema creates this thick layer of skin on top of your normal skin that just your typical Bath and Body Works is not gonna get rid of. The very first thing I was recommended by our pediatrician was Vanny Cream. You may have heard of it. This is Vanny Cream. It's super thick. It's free of dye and fragrances. And that is one thing you really need to keep in mind of all your products. Next, we have Aquifer. I'm sure if you're a parent, you've already heard of it. This is also fragrance-free, dye-free, and it's really for any dry skin, not just eczema. It kind of has the same consistency as Vaseline, and it's very gentle. It's a healing ointment. I highly recommend it if your baby can handle the thickness of it. Another super thick cream, if neither of those that I just mentioned earlier works for you, is Eucerin. This one doesn't feel as thick, but it locks in the moisture just like the previous two very thick lotions. Zoe liked it for a while, but then eventually it just felt very not breathable for her. Lastly, the good old Vaseline. That's what we eventually ended up sticking to because it is very breathable and it doesn't feel super thick. It's transparent. You can spread it out real fast. So we ended up just sticking with Vaseline for the majority of our everyday use to make sure that she's moisturized. The last thing I'm going to talk about is not a lotion, but the best cream we found was the butt paste. This gets rid of any rashes in about just a couple hours after you change the diaper. It's also super thick. It feels like you're putting some sort of putty on her, but it gets rid of all the rashes, and it's also fragrance-free, dye-free, paraben-free, and no preservatives. This one we highly recommend. Sometimes I almost wanted to just rub this all over her body because it felt like it was the only thing that was actually keeping moisture inside her skin. Next up, we're going to move on to some remedies that people over Instagram have just sent me, things that worked for their little ones. And the first product that we tried was for an oatmeal bath. We got this one called Mogi Mogi Baby. And it is a Yomogi plus oat bath pack. And Yomogi is a... It's a Japanese thing. I don't exactly know what it's about, but basically, apparently, it's anti-inflammatory. It's just a pack like this, and you put it in their bath with them, and supposedly that was supposed to keep their skin very plump and moist. But you guessed it, that didn't work for us. So then I went to look for another option of oat bath.你不高兴吗？好喝吗？ We also had to make a lot of lifestyle changes in the food that she ate and in the products that we buy. A lot of times, eczema and allergy can kind of be correlated from what we've learned from the allergists. So we have started to avoid dairy and peanuts. But also note that a lot of times eczema babies can have false positives. So when she went in for the blood draw, she came back with 14 positive allergens. And their allergist told us that a lot of these could be false positives. So it does not mean you have to right away get rid of all those foods on her list of dietary restrictions, because then they could become true allergens later down in life if you actually do avoid these false positives. Another thing I do now is that we pretty much only dress her in long sleeves and short sleeves, especially because her ankles and wrists are the worst for her eczema. So even if it's a very hot summer day and we're going outside in the sun, we always make sure, one, she's protected from the sun, and two, we give her the least opportunity to scratch herself. So by placing her in long sleeves and long pants, she can't really get to them. Another thing I noticed is that she scratches the most when she is bored, when she has nothing to engage herself with, especially during car rides. Car rides can get very boring for little ones. So when we're in the car, I make sure that she either has a snack to work on, she has a toy in hand, or that she has a book. Books are great because I can make sure that she is flipping. I give her the role of flipping the pages, so then she has, again, no opportunity to scratch herself. Also, at home, I make sure that the toys I buy are things that have little manipulatives in them, so then she can keep her hands engaged. 你干嘛?
Oh my god.
So doctors typically prescribe hydrocortisones. It's a type of steroid that you put on the skin. And the first level for someone with not super severe eczema is hydrocortisone ointment 2.5%. It's a big jug because it's not super strong.
We've clearly used so much of it.
We used it for about 2 weeks, and after about 2 weeks, the effects wore off. Next up, we moved up to this triamcinolone.
Acetaldehyde.
I'm not a doctor, I'm sorry. This one is stronger, and that's why it comes in such a small tube, because they don't want you to use too much of it. If you use too much of it, then it really breaks down your skin. This also didn't work. This worked for 2 weeks as well, and then stopped working for us. And something to know about eczema is that it's a cycle of your baby scratching their skin, and the more they scratch, the more histamines that come out, then the more layers of thick skin build up, and then they get itchier, they get scratchier. So what the doctors recommended was to put her on antihistamines oral medicine that can take away the itchiness, so then hopefully it stops the cycle of her itching and then her skin buildup and then more severe eczema. So the first thing we gave her was this children's all-day allergy. It's pretty much a baby Zyrtec, and we give it to her before she goes to bed every night. Only 2.5 mils. Anyways, that is all I have for you with this eczema life experience. I hope that if you are also combating eczema, I wish you luck. Truly, it is so hard, it is so tiring, and it is such an investment. So hopefully you'll find something that works for you. There are plenty of remedies all over the interweb. There's also this thing called bleach baths, but I don't think I'm ready for that. Anyways, if you try that out, let me know down in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.